Hi, my name's Juliet, and this video is for those authors who might be considering starting a YouTube channel and what you need to take into consideration if that's you. The first question you need to ask yourself is, why do you want to create a YouTube channel? I imagine most people will answer along the lines of, to get my name known as an author. This is an understandable objective, but if that's your only reason, I would opt for a less onerous way of creating a social media following, because creating videos is extremely time-consuming. YouTube is a long-term commitment to offer something to your viewers. If you don't commit to them, they won't commit to you. So what determines success on YouTube? Well, there's no definitive answer to that, other than you have to create videos. Everyone's YouTube journey is different, but there are a number of things that are included in the mix that have a bearing on the algorithms, and they do take time to work. Instant success comes to very few. It takes time for the algorithms to work out who your videos are for and where those viewers are. This largely depends on whether or not what you have already published is well received by viewers. The most important factor, I would say, is retention. It is extremely difficult to get high audience retention for any video content, no matter where you're posting it. If you have over 50% retention on YouTube, that's an average view time per viewer of half of your video. You're on the right track. That might sound low to you, but that's how this video making game works. Many people will click off your video after a few seconds. Some will just jump to the bit that answers their question, and others will watch right through. If you've targeted your videos correctly, you'll get more of the latter. Think of it like Amazon. They know you read a certain book all the way through, so they'll start recommending other books by that author, or in the same genre. YouTube does the same thing, except with videos. The next most important thing, probably, is how many likes, dislikes, and comments the videos get. These are also difficult to come by. Even if people do like a video, they rarely interact with the content. Again, think of Amazon. How many reviews do you have compared to the books you've sold? I think the stats are reckoned to be somewhere between 1 review per 100 to 1,000 books sold. Then there are subscribers. Subscribers are even more difficult to get. Most viewers ignore the subscribe button, and YouTube knows this, which is why they still show you some content from channels you've already watched, even if you don't subscribe. Unfortunately for the channel owner, certainly in the initial stages, subscribers are one of the most important things. There are many YouTube features that aren't available to creators with less than 1,000 subscribers, which makes it more difficult for channels to grow. Take this channel, for example. This is the most successful channel I've started, and yet it's coming up to being a year and a half old, and at the time of recording this, I have this many subscribers. YouTube is a long haul, a really long haul. Are you ready for that commitment? The two most successful types of channels, apart from gaming, are educational channels and entertainment channels. Educational channels can cover any topic you like. As long as you know more about the topic than the person coming to your video, you can teach them something. Entertainment can mean different things to different people. The list is endless. But I think the one thing that all entertainment channels usually have is someone with an engaging and possibly larger-than-life personality. Is that you? It might be, seeing as you're considering making a YouTube channel. So what are some kinds of author-based YouTube channels you could consider? Channels that come under the umbrella of AuthorTube. This is a community of channels where people talk about the writing process, give advice, and sometimes do writing hashtag challenges. If you think you might want to create this type of channel, go and start searching out channels that use the AuthorTube hashtag and see what they're talking about. Channels that are part of BookTube. Think of Instagram's Bookstagram, but with added videos. Once again, go and watch a ton of channels that use the hashtag before committing to this. Pure advice channels, which is where my channel sits now. Pick a writing-related topic that you think has enough content to keep you going, because you're going to need a lot of videos to make an impact. As I already mentioned, as long as you know more about the topic than the viewer, you can teach them something. Just search on a few topics you're interested in making videos about and go from there. Podcasts. Some writers who have podcasts have a dedicated channel for this and simply upload the audio onto YouTube with a single image. Others record the video too. This is definitely worth doing, whichever option you choose. A lot of people use YouTube as a listen-only resource, rather than using a podcast app. A Do It With Me channel. There is a bit of a trend on YouTube these days for filming yourself working and inviting others to work with you. Of course, you don't have to do this live. You could record and then upload. Search for Write With Me and similar With Me hashtags to see what you can find. So, do you have an inkling of what you might like to make your YouTube channel about? Okay, now it's time to jot down 50 ideas for videos that you could make on that topic. If you can't think of 50, you might need to plump for something other than a YouTube channel, because a video a week is going to be the minimum necessary to start to build a following on YouTube. You don't have to create all the videos you list. Ideas change over time. This is just a test for the viability of your channel. Which brings me on to what do you need to make videos. Let's start with the potentially simplest way to start making YouTube videos. At the end of 2020, YouTube introduced something called Shorts. These are short TikTok-like videos that you can record on your phone, but can also upload through the normal dashboard, and cannot be longer than 60 seconds. It's still rolling out, so not everyone yet has the Shorts camera. Whether or not you should make these kind of videos is a matter of huge debate on YouTube. If you thought the general YouTube algorithms were unfathomable, the Shorts algorithm is much, much worse. But they're easier to make, so the easiest entry level. If you want to do this, perhaps look on TikTok for book and author-related ideas. But what about what I'm going to call proper videos? Where will you film? Do you have an office, a desk, a corner of the living room? How's the lighting? I film at my desk right beside a window. I do have a small ring light, but I try to only use that in the winter when it may not get bright at all that day. Find a space and test it out by recording yourself. Oh, and no, you don't have to be in front of bookshelves, although your particular target market might expect it. What are you going to use to record? Many people use their smartphones these days, but most experienced YouTubers use a dedicated camera. There's no problem in starting with one and moving on to another, but once again, you need to test it to make sure the quality is good enough to upload. What are you going to use for sound? Your integrated mic on phone or camera may not be good enough. No one will watch a video if the sound is bad. There are lots of reviews on different kinds of mics on YouTube. I have one for my mic, and there's an Amazon link for it in the description. And then there's the issue of your computer. Videos are big files and they take a lot of processing power. If you just have a regular PC like me, you may have some issues with getting your videos made. Some of my videos take a long time to process. I have to use a visual scaling down option when creating my videos. I've had a difficult time trying to find the optimum screen recording setting that doesn't freeze and miss out bits of the recording, but looks okay in the video. I'm still not sure I have that one down. I've had to buy an extra hard disk to store the files, so I have a backup. Try testing the capacity of your computer before committing to making a channel. What next? Well, very few people are capable of making a completely unscripted video. So you need, at the very least, to have a list of points you want to cover. Mine are pretty strictly scripted, because I'm not an off-the-cuff person. This can take quite a while to do when you first start. I tend to script, then leave it at least one day and go back to it, because you can always think of a better way to say something after letting it rest for a while. When scripting, you should treat your manuscript like that old writing rule. Go in late, as in start writing the action, and get out early. So don't blather on at the end, because people have short attention spans these days and click off if you don't get to the point quickly. And then all you have to do is start. There are tons of channels about how to set up your YouTube channel and best practice. Go and check those out. I'll link a couple in the description that I think give good advice. As for this channel, I'll be starting to show you the software I use and some tips on that over the coming months. Thanks for watching. and if you subscribed. I'll see you again next time.